What is going on, BW Sports One World? It is Monday night, and you know what that means. It's time to bet your ass with my good buddy, Raphael Esparza. What's going on, brother?
Not much. What's going on with you?
Oh, just getting ready to talk some stuff up with you. We had an interesting weekend in football. We had some fights that went on this past weekend. I saw, before we get into NFL and future fights, I want to bring up your prop bet that you throw up about Max Holloway.
Yes, what an entertaining fight did he have on Saturday.
Man, did you watch that?
I still think he's throwing punches right now, but yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to do stuff like this for every major fight, or, I mean, no disrespect to Neil Magny and the main card that's on Wednesday's card. I'm not going to put whoever wins that fight because, I mean, no disrespect to those two fighters, but if one of them's closer to a belt or going to get a belt, then yes, but every main boxing match or UFC fight, you'll probably see something like this.
Well, that would be a good time to segue, but I want to hold up real quick. I don't want to jump into this Saturday yet. Let's talk about Max Holloway. I take it you saw that fight.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Did Max Holloway put on a show for the first time UFC has hit the airways on ABC? So what was the rumbling in Vegas like about the ABC debut of UFC, and were there any I missed them. Were there any prop bets as far as viewing goes with ABC?
I wasn't going to do any viewing stuff like that because no disrespect to UFC, but their ratings have not been monster ratings. Because I've been telling people this from the get-go. I mean, yes, they have Conor McGregor, but that's pretty much all they have. I mean, Magomedov, I don't know if he's ever going to come back, but they don't have that big draw. I mean, they have John Jones, but when's the next time he's going to fight? But that's pretty much it. I mean, they don't have that one big main mega draw. I mean, yeah, of course the ratings were good during COVID when they were the only sport on, but
right.
Let's face it, this last one was early in the afternoon, competing up with probably a lot of college basketball games and people gearing up for the NFL, probably watching the pregame shows or stuff like that. So I didn't want to do anything raised. Granted, it was on free TV on ABC, but who really knew that was on ABC unless you're a hardcore fighter or hardcore fan? So
the only time I watch ABC is either college football or UFC.
Yeah, so I wasn't going to do anything viewing ship or any stuff like that because I mean, MMA fighters, they may be the toughest guys, but on social media, they're the biggest whiners. I mean, our sport is the greatest. How can you compare us? I mean, we're better than football. I'm sorry. I mean, when it comes to my world, you're not even close. You're a fart in the wind, and all they do is bet heavy money line bets and stuff like that. Where they got cleaned up this weekend because the dogs were barking all day Saturday at Fight Island 7 or UFC on ABC 1, whatever you want to call it. The dogs were barking all day long.
Yes, they were. I mean, let's just talk about Max Holloway real quick. You have a prop bet that you got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potential contenders, or not contenders, opponents for Max Holloway coming up. Do you really think Volkanovski is going to be the number one target, especially if Conor McGregor wins this weekend?
I just don't think Holloway's going to move up 10 pounds. I think he's going to stay at 145 because let's face it, Max Holloway, Conor McGregor is not a draw. Conor McGregor versus Magomedov, Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz, 3. Those are draws. No disrespect to Max Holloway. I just don't see him moving up to the weight of 155. And if you've seen what McGregor looks like, he ain't dropping down to 145. So I'm hearing if McGregor wins, he's got probably 2 fights in UFC for 2021. And I'm hearing he's really, really close to signing that fight with Manny Pacquiao for boxing. So I would not be shocked if he says it in Thursday. And anyone, you just did that sigh. But you know what? UFC and MMA, you made the bed, you made the cake, you eat the cake because you have that horrible contract of you don't get paid as much as boxers do, in UFC, you can't bring your brand on your shorts. You can't bring stuff like that.
I definitely agree with you on that. You took away a lot of the stuff from the fighters when you took away their sponsorships. Yep. But I will say that the sigh was because I couldn't stand watching McGregor act like he could box in a boxing ring against Mayweather. Let's put him again in there to watch him try to do some elbow back hits or some shit like that he did last time. I mean, it's like putting a Paul in the ring. It's like, why do we watch this, people?
I mean, he's just going in there for the huge, not just a money grab, but a huge money grab. And again, MMA fans, if you're mad or sighing that he's doing that, well, then then write to UFC and Dana White and say, hey, let the fighters bring their. Because they lost, part of my friends, a shitload of money when they couldn't bring their banners or wear stuff on their shorts. Whatever.
Oh, yeah. They totally screwed the fighters and the fight teams out completely when they did that. Now, I'm ready to see this new, what is it? Not Alienware. It's, oh, God. It's going to
Reebok from something else. I can't remember.
God, what was it? I had tongue-tied. I was thinking it right here. I could picture the logo and everything. Now It's
not Under Armour, is it?
No, I do not think so. I want to say, for some reason, I was thinking like Rev Gear, but that's not it. It's a Venom.
Yes, Venom. You're right.
Venom.
Starts this year.
Yes, like
March
or April. Yep. I'm interested to seeing what kind of stuff that they could do for the fighters because they come from that realm, unlike Reebok or whoever else they want to bring in. But they still screwed the fighters out of money, and I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I just am not one to watch Conor McGregor getting back into a boxing ring. So, for my interest alone, not this Saturday, we have a rematch in the coming back party for Conor McGregor as he goes up against Dustin Poirier, who, let me add, is either number 1 or number 2 in the UFC right now at middleweight. Middleweight.
Yeah. It should be interesting. I mean, again, I'm not going to lie, I'm rooting for Conor McGregor because I think he's good for the sport of MMA. He needs his name. He's good for social media. He's good for the commercials. He's good for no disrespect to the Diamond, but he's not going to sell pay-per-view tickets when fans are starting to come into the stands or stuff like that. There's so many options they can use with Conor McGregor winning it, where he can fight for the belt against whoever he wants to fight, whoever wins it. So there's just so many options on this it's the lightweight. That's what they're fighting for.
Lightweight. There you go.
I mean, like I said, King has so-called retired. I still think he stays retired. I mean, you still got Gahey out there. Oliveira looked really, really good against Tony Ferguson when he beat the crap out of Tony Ferguson.
The breaks off of him.
So, I mean, there's a lot of other good fights out there that they can make if Conor wins. I mean, he can what he looks like, he could probably move up to 170 pounds welterweight. So if that's the case, maybe he can shut the mouth of Kobe Covington or fight Douglas Lima or something like that if he wants to. But I think if you hate him, if you like him, he's good for your sport. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm sorry, there's no one else out there that's gonna bring in the dollars, bring in the eyes, bring in the new eyes for your sport, for UFC, for MMA. I'm sorry, there's no one out there. You can email me and text me, what about this guy? What about this? That's fine. He doesn't have the persona of Conor McGregor. He doesn't have the mouth of Conor McGregor. I mean, Mayweather sold most of his tickets because of his mouth and his actions he did outside of the ring. Same as Muhammad Ali. Same as a lot of these other Ronda Rousey. Her name was, she was telling people what she would do. I mean, no disrespect to Nunez as probably that, but she's no Ronda Rousey. I'm sorry, people are just not groomed for that. And I come from a wrestling world where I used to watch it all the time, and you had your heels and you had your bad guys, but you had people who worked good on the mic. And if you worked good on the mic, you're going to be the champion. You're going to get endorsements. You're going to promote your company. And sorry, please incite me. Who would you think that would go to if you know somebody?
What's that? As far as
besides Conor, name me someone in UFC.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah,
it seems like our good buddy Raphael tonight is fired up somewhere, somehow, some way. He's saying a lot of "I'm sorry's." He's no disrespect. He's on one tonight, boys and girls, and I'm loving
fired
it.
up.
Yes, you are. I like it. So, do you think that Poirier can pull this off or not?
Yes. Okay. Again, I hope he doesn't, but he does.
I really think that he can, and I honestly think that he will. I just think that Poirier is definitely a different fighter from the last time they fought, and he just, I don't know, he's got it. He's there. He's on it.
The only thing I don't like about Poirier is he couldn't put away Hooker. I mean, he had trouble. I mean, Hooker plays really good defense, and so does Conor. I mean, granted, when he lost to Khabib, everyone loses to Khabib. Once Khabib gets you on the ground, I don't care who you are, you're going down. So I think that was, because Conor connected a couple of times on Khabib. So I was just not 100% sold. I know he beat Hooker, but it took him 5 rounds to beat him. He just didn't put away. And if Conor just connects you once or twice, he's going to put you out. Plain and simple. And I think the longer this fight goes, it's probably going to be better for Poirier. I think if this thing seems delayed around, if you're a Diamond fan, you're looking good. But if you're 1-2 and maybe going to third round, because we all know Conor's gas tank is not the longest gas tank in the world. So I think if you're the Diamond, you're looking for a very long fight, and you're going to successfully. It's going to be weird to see 2 southpaws fight again. I haven't seen a really good 2 southpaw fight, but again, I'm looking for a quick 1-2 knockout so I can start watching other things on TV on the main event on Saturday. So again, I'm a fan, and I want to see Conor win because I think he's just so good for the sport. Love him or hate him, he's just so good for the sport.
No, I agree. So there we go. I'm putting my air quotes right here, my sport to rest for the night. Now let's talk a little NFL action. We had some interesting stuff go on in the games. I want to talk about something that I saw, that everybody saw, that the world saw, and I'm trying to figure it out and put a just a reason to it. Patrick Mahomes on the run, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Raphael, but on the run, everybody's saying that there was head contact to the back of the head, and I honestly saw 0 actual contact to the head with the helmet and the shoulder pads. I more so saw kind of the whip around of the body, kind of the way he just kind of twisted a little bit. I don't know. What's your thoughts? Because I heard that there's some type of nerve issue that's going on that kind of made him look wobbly and not necessarily a concussion.
He did hit the ground with his front of the helmet, but it wasn't that hard. But he did look wobbly when everyone saw he stood up. So
he looked like he just got out of the fight with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I thought Lamar's concussion was probably more the way he hit the back of his head. Yeah. Now that was powerful, and I knew he wasn't coming back. But I think the way he ran into the locker room, Mahomes, and they said he was all right. Some people said back in the day he probably would have came back in without these other people. So we made the number of him playing this Sunday. So if anything comes out, I think if anything, we'll know more on Thursday if he's playing or not, or stuff like that. I think the next couple of days, it's could have, would have, should have, should he play, shouldn't he play, blah, 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 blah. But I think Thursday we'll really find out, okay, he's practicing. He can practice on Friday or Saturday, did some walkthroughs, whatever. I just think he plays.
Do you have fingernails still? Does everybody of your constituents around the casinos and the sports world have fingernails because of when he went out and Chad Henne goes in? I'm sure that the people that put money on the Cleveland Browns were waiting for ecstasy as the books were kind of a little bit nervous. Am I wrong?
We actually cleaned up on Saturday's games and lost a little bit on Sunday's games because the Browns, when I woke up on Sunday, they were pretty much a solid 10. And then all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, 9.5, 9s. I even saw a couple 8.5s. The money was just flowing in on the Cleveland Browns. So, and we had some good money line tickets on them. So that was actually we lost a little bit of money, and the under came in, so we won a little bit more on that when everyone was betting. Like, anytime Kansas City plays, the public's always going to bet it over. So that was a kind of given. But yeah, we were hoping Cleveland wasn't going to win that game because of the money line tickets. We would have probably had a bet. And I've told a lot of people on media day. Granted, I didn't do the show with you on Monday because of the national championship game, which Alabama just scored another touchdown while me and you are talking right now.
Right.
I told everyone that I thought the Browns were going to win straight up. Yeah, take the +10. I'm not the biggest money line bettor, so I wasn't saying double mortgage or house on the money line. But if there was one big surprising outcome on Saturday and Sunday, I thought it was going to be the Browns, and they almost had it.
They almost did. They came very close. And honestly, when Mahomes went out and I seen Chad Henne, I even forgot he was still playing in the league.
Me too.
Man, I'm like, oh, boy, this is not going to be good for Kansas City. But they did what they needed to do to make it to the AFC Championship. Now, against them, you saw the Buffalo Bills take on the Baltimore Ravens, and the Buffalo Bills are victorious. Now, I do say I am a little bit biased now with the Buffalo Bills because my cousin is an orthopedic surgeon on the Buffalo Bills staff, I guess you should say. He made it on the TV screen when they were bringing back Lamar Jackson in the tunnel. You see him in the corner looking at Lamar as he's walking by with his hat on and everything. So we knew who he was. Not everybody else did.
Now I do. If I watched the game, I would look for him. But yeah, you know what? Give or take, Mahomes plays or he doesn't play, it's going to be a really, really good game. I'm biased on this one because I have a really nice ticket on the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC Championship. So I'm a little biased on myself, but I've been telling people for the last couple of weeks I thought Buffalo was the best team in the AFC, and I'm still going to ride them. So I don't know if I'm going to bet the game because I already have money on the AFC Championship, but if I was betting this game, I sure like the +3 on this one.
Yeah, I noticed that, and then I'm sitting here looking, and I can't really – I mean, I know it's early, and this is the late game of Sunday. Do you think the over-under will move? I'm looking at mybookie.ag right now. 53.5 is the number. I don't know where – I have not looked at any other betting books, but where are you seeing?
It's 53.5 pretty much everywhere. There's a couple 53s. This total opened up at 56, so it's moved 3 points downward. So if you like the over, maybe wait and see if it keeps on coming down. I would not be shocked since they're both outside games and we're probably supposed to get cold and wind. I'm never going to mention snow because every time they say it's going to snow, it never snows. So I'm not going to mention that. But, I mean, they're both outside games, so it would not shock me. And all four teams like to run the ball. Tampa Bay ran it early. I'm sure we'll talk about that game before that, and I think that's why they pretty much won the game, beat the Saints. But all four teams are going to want to establish the run early, so I would not be shocked if both of these games are dead under games.
Okay, well, there you have it. There's your AFC winner. We know who Raphael's going for. Now let's move back to the NFC. You do have Tampa Bay with Tom Brady, playoff Tom, against Drew Brees and the Saints, which is that his last game as a Saints quarterback? Yeah,
I mean, you saw the email I sent out today. What jersey? Who's going to be Week 1 jersey for the Saints? And I mean,
I'm surprised you didn't have Carson Wentz on that list.
I almost did, but I think he's staying. I think he's going to be your. I think he's staying in the Eagles now. That you guys are going to be looking for a new head coach, which I'm hearing they really want Lincoln Riley, really bad.
I don't know why, man.
But I think they're going to keep Carson Wentz in Philly, so that's why I didn't put his name on this. But Matthew Stafford could be a very, very big shock if he went over to the Saints, or even David Carr, whatever Carr brother it is, David or Derek. I was Derek Carr. I would not be shocked if he doesn't land in the Saints, but keep an eye out for Derek Carr going to Chicago. So I would not be shocked on that one too. But
what do you see? Well, speaking of that, real quick, not to mean to cut you off, but what do you think the Oakland Raiders are going to do if Derek Carr goes? What do you think they're going to do?
There's a lot of quarterbacks that's out there. I mean, maybe Gruden,
right now.
maybe Gruden would love to grab Dak Prescott if he gets franchise. If Dak Prescott's going to determine a lot of dominoes in the quarterback carousel wheel this year. Deshaun Watson, everyone thinks he is, but I think Dak Prescott is going to be the big domino piece when he falls or picks where he's at. I think everyone else starts going in. I know Deshaun Watson's a lot younger and stuff like that, but he has a lot of the no trade clause, blah, 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 blah. I think Dak Prescott will probably be the one that comes out first and says, hey, you know what, I'm going to sign with Dallas, or I'm going to pick my talents somewhere else or whatever. So I think he's going to be the key piece.
Okay. Well, kind of going back real quick, what did you see from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that makes you want to think that Tom Brady's going to go back for another Super Bowl ring? Or will the Green Bay Packers do what they've consistently done over the season and just keep winning?
I think their defense, Tampa Bay, is really, really impressive. I mean, I think that's why they won that game. I mean, if you think about it, Tampa Tom didn't have a Tampa Tom game. I mean, they ran the ball, left Drew Brees and that offense on the sidelines a lot, and they won. And they won by game by with turnovers. They cashed on the turnovers that they got. That's plain and simple. It's not like they dominated that game on both sides of the ball. Granted, I think the offensive line and defensive line really played well for Tampa Bay, but it was those turnovers. And I just don't think if Tampa Bay cannot stop the running attack of Green Bay, then it slides out. Because just if those safeties are going to have to move up, if Green Bay's running the ball, then I'm sorry, his MVP is going to pick that Tampa Bay secondary apart. And I kind of like the Cheeseheads on this one.
Okay, well, I'm not a fan of either team. I mean, I could care less now, unless I'm putting money where I'm wanting it, and I will go with playoff Tampa Tom falling out of the NFC Championship and allowing the Green Bay Packers to move on against the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl.
Now, I think the betting public is going to jump all over Green Bay all week long. So if you like the Packers, I say hurry up and get that 3.5. I wouldn't even tell, even though I hate telling people to buy a half a point. But we could see weather issues on this game. Winds. Again, I'm not going to mention the S word. It's outside, so I wouldn't mind telling people, hey, you know what? This time, buy that half a point and get off that half and take Green Bay -3. If you're Tampa Bay, wait to see how much money piles in on the MVP. And if you can get 4, there's 1-4 out there, and usually if 1-4 is out there, another one's not far behind. Mm-hmm. So if you can get +4 on Tampa Tom, or if you like Tampa Bay, you might want to wait because you might get a better number. I don't think this one goes past 4, 4.5, unless some 6-figure, 7-figures, 8-figure bets start coming in. And I don't see this number going back down that much to 3. So I think it's going to stay around this number.
Okay. All right. So let's kind of fill the public in with the point buying, Raphael. You mentioned, buy the half a point here and there. You don't really say that a lot or often at all. Obviously, this is the first time you've actually said it on this show, but kind of explain what the reasoning is behind a bettor or a bookie putting that half point tease out there, kind of.
Well, a half point is I don't highly recommend it because you're buying a half a point, but you have to pay for that half point. You're not just going to get it and you're still going to get -110. Since it's a 3 and 3.5 is such a key number, some books might charge you -140 to get off the half a point on a 3 or a 7. So really look thoroughly. If you have to pay more than $1.30 on it, I would say no. It's not worth taking -140 just to move it a half a point, because if you lose, you're losing that 30 cents that you wouldn't have lost anyway. So buying a half a point is just getting that hook off, plain and simple. The Green Bay's 3.5. If they win by a field goal, you lose. But if you buy that half a point and you get 3 and they win by a field goal, you get your money back. So, you get that extra juice you had to pay for it back anyway. So I highly recommend on just key numbers. Even a 6 is a key number. If it's 6.5, you can get off at 6. I would highly recommend. But I know people who buy half of numbers every time they just bet. Oh, I hate that half point. It could be 4. It could be 17 or 7 or 18. I want to buy a half point. For what? There's no. How many times have games really, really land? it doesn't really happen a lot on a daily basis. So, but on these games, outside games where field goal can be a huge, huge difference on these games, that's why they're 3 and 3.5. I wouldn't mind if you like the Green Bay Packers. I wouldn't bash you and say you're an idiot for buying a half a point now. If this was an 8-point game or 8.5-point game, you want to buy it down to 8, then you're an idiot.
I get where you're saying there. I know that I'm not a complete idiot because I at least knew that.
But I don't mind. Like I said, it's a good tool if you use it correctly. If you use it every day, your bankroll is going to disappear, your wallet's going to disappear, and most likely your wife or girlfriend is going to disappear.
Well, that's why you just don't bet what you don't have, right?
Exactly. I say that all the time. I mean, I tell people money management is part of every gambling, and you don't want to bet what you don't have. But that means if you have a job, pull like $10 aside or quit going to Starbucks for a month and use that money to start gambling with and stuff like that. You never want to use your rent money, your grocery money, your kids' money. That's what it's all about money management and just pulling stuff aside. I just don't understand why people just don't realize that.
No. Some people call it an addiction. Some people call it an issue. Whatever. Yeah. I just know that I don't have the issue. You don't have the issue. And our folks watching on BW Sports 1 will not have that issue because they watch you and me every Monday talking about don't bet what you don't have. Now, I got real quick. I have the first is that a breaking news on your end? We got some props moving?
No, it's just they want me to do inauguration prop bet, so they're just trying to. Oh God! I said I didn't have the time, and now they're begging.
Because you're so good, man. You're like the all-star over there at Doc Sports.
Plain and simple, they're begging.
Well, all right. Now it's time for Doc Sports pick of the night. Right now, text BW Sports to 29022 right now for a free $60 new account, no credit card, and no obligations at all needed. BW Sports to 29022. All right. Now, I know you're not big on the Deshaun Watson. You think Dak Prescott is the key factor in the domino effect. But I want to hear, obviously, there's rumblings going on in Houston. Deshaun Watson does not want to be there, according to the airwaves. Where does he end up? First snap of the regular season, 2021.
If they land Brian Bramley with the Kansas City offensive coordinator, then I think he has a shot of staying there. Now, if you're him, do you really want to go to the worst job that's left or that was even out there of all the NFL coaching jobs? That's probably the big issue because not only could you lose Deshaun Watson, you might lose J.J. Watt as well. So it could be a complete rebuild over in Houston. But if that's not the case, the rich always get richer. Is that correct?
That's what we keep hearing.
Then Deshaun Watson is going to be a New England Patriots.
Oh, wow.
I would say keep an eye out for a couple teams. I would say the Patriots are one of them. I would say the Saints are another one as well. But also keep an eye out for the Pittsburgh Steelers for Deshaun Watson.
Damon would love that. I don't think Damon would have any issue whatsoever if Deshaun Watson came to Pittsburgh. Because, okay, here's another one real quick. Ben Roethlisberger. How many more years does he play?
One. I think he plays one more year unless they get Deshaun Watson. Then I think he says to the city of Pittsburgh, you know what, you got your quarterback. I will
bow down,
bow out or whatever. Whatever. I think that's the case, but I think he has 1 year left. I think he'll readjust his contract to play 1 year, give a whole bunch. All his money will come from incentives or whatever he does throughout the year, and then I think he bows out.
All right, you heard it here from the one and only Raphael Esparza. Raphael, tell everybody where they can find you at.
You can find me on Instagram at Raphael Esparza. You can find me on Twitter at VSI.Sports. You can find me over at DocSports.com and over at mybookie.ag. Sorry for the no video today, but my doctor appointment, and I had to go to Total Wine to fill up the wife's wine pantry today, so my morning ran a little bit late. Doctors in filling up the juice.
There you go. Okay, so filling up the juice is why we were running a little bit behind. Lost track of time. Yeah, that's what I do when I'm drinking wine too. Raphael, thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure as always. We will see you next week, next Monday. Check it out, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on BW Sports 1. Raphael, have a wonderful week.
Take it easy. Have a great week.
Peace.